Dead Rising, a series that, while it's not up there with Capcom's other hits, such as Mega Man or Resident Evil in terms of popularity, it still is a cult classic and beloved by its fans. Starting with the original back in 2006, we have Dead Rising. Then we have Dead Rising 2. While I never played this one, I have played its other one off the record, which is an offshoot kind of reimagining. Next, we have Dead Rising 3, which I don't know how I haven't gotten to this one yet. I need to get on that, especially since I have a computer and it's always going on damn sale on Steam. And then we have Dead Rising 4. Yeah, I'm not even going to comment on that one. This series, while not having the most perfect history in terms of getting games out, and even sometimes games being good at all, this series still holds a soft place in my heart, as it was the first real rated R game I've ever played. And in my opinion, it's just a great game. One of my all-time favorites. But now we go into the issue of the remake. Yeah, they remade this thing. And when I heard this, I believe in junior year in class, I think I even reposted it. I was just so damn excited. Because I loved the first game. I would be lying to you if I said the first game was a very, very unflawed game, which it's not. And age has definitely not been kind to it, even with the ports to the newer systems. So remaking this game, what the hell? It could only help, right? Right? Well, I actually did pre-order this game, and this game holds a little bit of a sentimental value to me. Now, this was the first game I pre-ordered with my money that I got from my first job. I remember seeing a video saying that this game was having to have bad quality, and we'll get into that, whether that's going to be really true or not. But I was just scared off of it, so what I did was change my pre-order. Actually, the day of, or the day after, I don't remember. I looked it up, and I was like, well, might as well do this. And I went to go exchange my copy for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And I played it and I got my ass kicked, and then I proceeded to whine and exchanged it for Dead Rising, which I wanted in the first place. I don't know why. I was actually even considering getting Epic Mickey Rebrush, since I actually was feeling kind of nostalgic for that game, and I still do want to go back to it. But that's what I did. I went back and exchanged it, missing out on the pre-order bonuses. Regardless of how this game came into my life, I still have very strong opinions on it, and I would like to go over some of them. Now, what does this game have to do? Well, it has to improve where the original was lacking. While me and many others love the original game, we know it's not perfect. It definitely has a few flaws, especially considering how old it is. And if it can get some of those right, then I don't see why it can't be worthy enough to be up there with the original game. Secondly, it's sort of a culmination of the first point, but give me a reason to come back. Does it improve upon where the original was lacking so much in some areas that I just cannot see myself playing any other version? Does it offer something special? Something new? If it can answer that, then I'm sure it will be a good reason to come back to it. Give me a reason, again, if not every time, at least half the time. I will be breaking this down into 3 parts. First, the quality of life improvements. Something that straight up is better in this version that I can't see being better in the original. At least objectively. Second, the mixed. Something that could either teeter on being good, or even being bad, or even just staying in the middle. And then the third, straight up worse. These changes are worse than the original, and I can't see why they did them. With that being said, let's get into our first part. Something that I didn't even know, and I kind of took for granted for it in the game, was the walking speed. You're automatically faster from the get-go, and you're able to increase it much like the original. In the original, I didn't even notice it until I was looking at clips, but it just takes you a long time to get anywhere. Which, I mean, maybe can be attributed to the way that you level up and stuff. But regardless of how you feel, I feel like this is just a pretty great inclusion. The flying dodge. The flying dodge in this game feels so good. Actually, I went back and looked at how much I used it in the original. And to be honest, I could barely find anything. I don't know, I guess I didn't realize I didn't use it as little as I did. For some reason I thought I did. I guess I would just jump around most of the time to get there faster. But yeah, the flying dodge in this game works pretty great. The flying dodge feels like almost like an MMO game, or even a Souls-like game if you play those games. I haven't, but that's just what I've seen. It just feels so good to dodge. And even getting around, it feels pretty decent. It just feels way better. I think what also has to do with is the control of it. In the original, you tap the left stick up twice, and yeah, I guess it got the job done. And I thought actually I would be able to get used to it, but in this one, it feels way more intuitive. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know, just something about it feels really smooth. In the original, it would take you a while to get back up once you performed it, leaving you either vulnerable for zombies or even psychopaths. But in this one, it while it does take a little bit, still it doesn't take nearly as long, and you feel like while you can't spam it, you can still do a good amount of them in a row. Going back to the psychopaths, I feel like these boss fights are really way better than the original. Yeah, like I've said, the flying dodge has something to do with it, but I think just the way the design is a little better. I mean, look at how I'm defeating Joe in the original. Not much of a fight there. But going over to the Deluxe Remaster, I have to actually work a little bit. Yeah, I mean, are they the hardest things in the world? No, once you get their pattern down. They're not that bad, and there is still, you can still cheese, kind of like this Carlito boss fight right here. But for the most part, I think they're very improved. All right, now for a quick fire round. These are changes or additions that are very good, but aren't really worth going super in detail in, as there isn't that much to talk about. First, the time advance, as it sounds very basic. You can advance time. I didn't find myself using it that much. I don't know why, but it is very useful if you're just trying to get through the game and not really get that many survivors. The way the receiver works is different now. Back in the original, when Otis would call you, it would be annoying as hell because he would keep calling and calling until you answered. You know, even when you did answer, you would have to wait a while before you finished talking. Now in this one, you can answer it and then do something else. If you want to swing your weapon, you can swing your weapon. If you're trying to help a survivor out, you can help him out. You don't need to wait. Hell, you can even advance the thing super quick, so his text just scrolls faster. Overall, this is a great, great inclusion, especially if you play the original. You know how hard it is when you're in the middle of a boss fight or even a swarm of zombies, and Otis just keeps calling all the damn time. Lastly, in the addition to new welcome changes, is the autosave. Very simple. Enter a new area, it saves where you just entered. Although I didn't use it as much, kind of like a time advance mechanic, this is very good for newcomers and was very useful for me in certain instances, such as this one. Now we're going to get into the mixed. And when I say mixed, yeah, it's pretty mixed. Honestly, this is where a lot of my opinions really strongly come from. Don't get me wrong, I think a lot of stuff they added is good, as I just went over, but the mix really is going to put it to the test. Firstly, we got to go over the Survivor AI. And now I know a lot of you are looking at me crazy. Like, what? What do you mean? It's fixed. And while, yeah, it's fixed, it kind of makes the game a tad bit easier. In the original, you had to actually move your survivors to where you wanted to. You had to plan routes and all that. And don't get me wrong, it is frustrating as all hell. It really was a pain in the ass. Now, I never got a full survivor run in the original or even in the remake, although in the remake I got pretty darn close. And do plan on doing it. And if I ever do it, it will probably be in the remake first. I will say the survivors in the original do make it a little bit more rewarding at the same time. Like, yeah, you just got them through there. It took you a lot of effort. You got to plan that route. And that's kind of why I put it in the beginning because while it is mixed, I will say it's mostly a good inclusion, although it does kind of worsen the experience of it being a little bit more difficult. Again, don't get me wrong. For newcomers, this is a great inclusion. But for veterans like me who have played the original multiple times, I think it just kind of makes it a tad bit too easier. But once again, overall, I think it's a good inclusion. Next up, we have the most objective part of the game, which is the graphics. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying you can have whatever opinion on the graphics. I mean, you can have whatever opinion you want on the whole game. It's your opinion. But I feel like the graphics are the most contentious part because, well, does it look good to you? It looks good to you. I know that the original wasn't much of a looker, but it definitely still has its charm. Look, I'll just get this straight out of the way. I think it's a mixed bag. In terms of how the characters look, I think for the most part they look pretty good. I like how gross they still look. They still retain a lot of that charm from the first game with making them look better, which is what the whole point of a remake is supposed to do. Now, where my opinion splits a little bit is on some certain things. One thing I do like are the bits of trash falling on the floor. Like, yeah, this is a mall. Not everything's going to be clean. In fact, most of it's probably going to be dirty. People aren't going to pay attention where they're throwing their stuff. So it really adds a nice little touch. Another thing I like are the little details such as the waves in Paradise Plaza. It's actually pretty nice. One thing I will give this game, and I don't know if this is much of a graphic thing, but well, I guess it kind of does, is how the animations are just the same. I like how they're in HD now, but still have the kind of goofiness of the original. I especially like how Frank still does his chomping on the food, how Frank's animations still look the same, such as his knee drop and somersault kick. Now, where I run into issues is some of the other things, such as the various signs in the game. Yeah, I actually looked this up. Apparently, they use a lot of AI upscaling for this. And when I went back to look at stuff, yeah, you can kind of see it. It's pretty obvious. I felt like there was something up. Now, this isn't the first time a game's done this. I think recently the most notorious example can be seen in, well, other than the Call of Duty calling cards. Where else this could have been seen was in the GTA, the Definitive Edition trilogy. Yeah, they look bad in that one too. I don't even know why they keep using this. I don't know why they don't want to go back in it and just do it themselves. But that's what they chose to do. Yeah, there's a whole controversy about this, and I'm not even the first one that's probably talked about it. But it just looks bad, man. I don't know why they can't go back and do it. Now, I don't really know too much about this. And actually, if I'm being honest, this was one of the reasons that drove me away from getting the game. Was that I heard a lot of the stuff was just done very cheaply by a Chinese company, I believe. It could actually be a Taiwan-based company, Neoboards Games. And yeah, I don't know why they just can't go back and do this naturally. Look, I don't know how this stuff really works and all that. I don't even know this company really. I don't know what other games they make. They have a track record for this stuff. But you can tell it's just cheap, man. It's kind of disheartening when you're a fan of the series and you just want it to be taken care of, at least decently well. But I mean, again, it's personal preference. It's up to you. The complaint, well, it's more leaning towards a mixed, obviously, if it's in the section. But it's just the overall easiness of the game. Look, as a veteran of the first one, I think it's just that it's me, maybe. I mean, I played the original a bunch of times, but just overall, this feels easier, like way easier in some areas. Take, for instance, the tunnel sequence. Like, there's not nearly as many zombies, and I feel like actually through the whole game, there wasn't nearly as many zombies as the original. The original's tunnel sequence, I was just fucking stressing the whole entire time. And actually, I would use this video. I will actually put it up. And yeah, thanks to this video, I was able to get through it. Shout out to this guy. But in this new one, there's barely any zombies in the tunnels. And it's just overall way, way too easy. Look, as someone coming into this new, I can definitely understand how this should be a little bit more accessible. And that's one thing I give this game. It's a little bit more accessible. Yeah, the chainsaw is all maybe not as good as it used to be, but it's still really good for mowing down zombies and hordes and all that. But again, it's kind of a culmination of just the survivor AI being easier, the zombies being easier, and just the overall game feeling a little bit more dumbed down. Once again, I have to preface that if you're new to the series, I don't think this is a bad place to start in terms of if you just want to get through the game. Now we're going to get into the bad. Things that are straight up worse in this version that the original did not have a problem with. In this section, I would just be going over, the bad. What's worse? What makes the game worse? These are the opposite of quality and life improvement. I'm going to start this off with one thing that I think everybody can agree with for the most part. It's the voice acting. Now, I'm going to show you one clip from the original, and then I'm going to show you another one from the remake. And I want you to tell me which one sounds better to you. Which one has more emotion?
What in the hell are you people doing? Run! Quick, move! Get over here! Everyone, move this way! Quick, to the stairs! Move! What in the hell are you people doing? Run! Quick, move! Get over over here! Everyone, move this way! Quick, to the stairs! Move!
Kind of sad because this is like in the first like 10 to 15 minutes of the game. And so you already know the voice acting is going to be bad from that part. Not even that, it's just that they ruined Brad. Like, he used to sound so cool in the original. He had this sort of badass kind of way of talking, much like a B movie. Although I will give credit where credit is due. I think Frank's new voice actor is actually pretty damn good.
You know how to use this?
Kinda. I've covered wars, you know.
I actually really, really like his performance. It's cool. He gives off a little bit more of an everyman vibe that while the original definitely does have, he seems to be a little bit more grounded. Like, yeah, he might not be the most confident person in the world, but he just has enough confidence to get through what's being thrown at him. It's really cool, and I really commend it. If they ever want to use him for future projects, I would definitely be down to see that. On the same topic, we can go to the Survivors voice actors. Again, well, they don't sound maybe as bad as the actual voice actor performing for their other major roles, but I don't know. They sound kind of corny, and they do deliver stupid lines once in a while, such as this one.
Hey, I found something that's sure to go viral on social media.
Come on!
And I don't know, they're just kind of annoying. You really respect the minimalism of the original, where it just had text. Like, yeah, in your head, it might seem like a good idea for all of them to have voice acting, but I don't know, it just takes away from a lot of things. And the fact that they're pointing out the stupid PP stickers all the time, like, oh my God, can you just shut up? Look, I don't want to hate on any of these voice actors because I'm sure this is just in a vacuum. The direction of this game probably wasn't what they actually wanted it to sound like, or how even the voice actors wanted something like. That's just probably how they were told to deliver their lines. And you know what? I'm sure they're good voice actors. No hate to any of them. One thing that really, really irks me about this version is the goddamn lighting. The original lighting was good. Nothing wrong with it. Much like Assisted Suicide, it got the job done. Shout out to Canada. And you know what? Just to get my point across, I'm going to show you some clips from the original. Look at this. What's wrong with this? There's a good light around Frank. You can see everything. You can see everything you need to see. And even the things that aren't lit up, you can clearly tell where they're at. Now I'm going to show you some clips from the new one. What is this? Frank is nearly pitch black in some of these things. The lighting is just god awful. And really, this can all be traced back to the RE engine. Yeah, it's Capcom's engine that they've been using for most of their games, as of recently, I believe. I don't know, I haven't really kept up with them, if I'm being honest. But just looking at it, like, come on. I'm even going to show some gameplay from Resident Evil 2, courtesy of my friend. And I mean, look at this. Look. It fits way, way better in this game than it does Dead Rising. And I mean, obviously, yeah, it's going to work better. It is called the RE engine after all. I don't know. I think this is kind of a trend companies been doing, making their own engine that works for all the games. But in the end, a lot of times it just doesn't work right. Like, I don't know what's so hard about making a new. Well, I mean, I do know what's so hard about making a new engine. It's making a new engine. But if it's not going to work for this game, just make a new one. Another big thing, which is very debatable, is the censorship. Look, I won't really get too much into this, but in my opinion, this kind of maybe not ruins parts of the games, but just makes it a little bit worse. A big one is definitely the Cliff boss fight. Look, I don't know where you stand on politics or whatever, but just removing the line where he calls Frank a filthy communist, it just kind of ruins it, in my opinion. Like, there's no real reason to do that. It just baffles me. I mean, he is literally a Vietnam War veteran. It would make sense that he calls Frank a filthy communist. Again, going back to the studio that helped make this and where they're located, yeah, this comes a little bit more clear that they might have censored it for that reason. But I don't know, man. This just seems like a very bad decision. I don't know why they did this. In terms of the other censorship, I think for the most part, it's fine. I mean, again, living in the 21st century or wherever we're at right now in time or whatever, like, people are gonna get mad at this. Like if they left a lot of the stuff in. I'm actually surprised they left this line in.
Potentially hinder the growth of the larvae in your blood, retarding the zombification process.
Next up, we're gonna go over some quick changes that they made or additions. These are things that I don't really necessarily think are good or bad. They're just there in the game and they changed them or added them to, we'll change them or add them. The cultists now have females now. Pretty interesting. The camera works a little bit differently. I'm not gonna lie, it messed me up a little bit, but it was simple enough to get used to. Although, to do this though, I guess is a little bit more of a complaint, but I got used to it after a while. But it is definitely annoying. You have to move your fingers differently because of the way the camera's set up. It's a little bit annoying. You gotta do a little bit of a claw finger, but I mean, I guess I got used to it. It wasn't too bad. The flow to your jump now. I guess it makes traversing a little bit easier, but again, not too bad. On your menu, you now have a location of all the PP sticker locations. And I mean, it definitely makes it easier, but I mean, it's like a whatever change. I guess it's kind of nice to have. Survivors now point out locations of stuff such as PP stickers and even combinations with drinks and where weapons are. I mean, I guess it's a little useful, but they're kind of annoying, like I said earlier in the voice acting column. But I mean, it's okay. Chainsaw's trick still works. Cool to see. You can now use a rocket launcher now. This was actually a scrapped item in the original Dead Rising. You can still find it in the files, and people have modded it in. But it's here now, and it's just okay. So, what is my final verdict on the game? It is okay. Well, maybe calling it just okay is a little harsh, because it is actually pretty good. I mean, the amount of stuff they took out was probably not as bad as you think, but the changes they made to some of the graphics, the voice acting being as bad as it is, and the lighting issues kind of take this down a few notches for me. Don't get me wrong. If you're gonna play this game, it's gonna be your first time experiencing Dead Rising. It's not too bad. You still get the full experience and being able to buy. I mean, so many companies just hide their games under the rug and don't even want you to touch the original. So I think the original being able to buy it sort of softens the blow on this one. Being able to play both versions is really awesome. But if you ask me, I would still say the original was superior.